So Hyperscape happened, and it's really made me think critically about Apex Legends over the past week or two. So today, let's dive into things that I think Apex could try, things I think Apex could do to maybe bring some of the fun back for Titanfall fans. With the release of Titanfall 2 on Steam and its major revitalization in terms of player base, people seem to have been going away from Apex throughout the middle of Season 5, with really no surprise on anyone's part. This is doubly true with the launch of Hyperscape into open beta on PC, which by the way is available on Uplay as a free-to-play game and is very fun. You should check it out. A lot of my friends, myself included, have just not really felt much of an urge to play Apex lately because there are other fast games that remind us of our past and things that we have loved years and years ago, and it's been fun to go back to them for a while. So, what can Apex do? What can Respawn, more specifically, do to try to bring players back into Apex in the fold in Season 6 that in ways that will actually affect gameplay and the core way the game plays out and feels, that is not simply a new map or new legend or new gun or new story stuff. I mean, all that is fantastic and amazing, don't get me wrong, but a lot of people are just looking for that base game feel, which even though Apex just 2 months ago, everyone would say that it is one of the best feeling games out there in terms of the way your controller moves and the way your mouse responds and this and that. That's starting to wane now, with Hyperscape being an option, with people going back to Titanfall, with people going on to Valorant, with this and that. Something needs to happen at the core fundamental level, in my opinion, to really shake things up and bring people back into Apex. And one of the things that really made me want to make this video is just start rambling on about this is there was a tweet by Josh Medina, at least when I'm recording this a day or two ago, where he was asking for ideas for an LTM. Basically, he's like, if you could design an LTM from the ground up, what would you do? So my response in a much longer form now for this video is effectively this. I would really like to see Apex Legends take a page out of Hyperscape's book, as well as a page out of the book of Radical Heights, a very long ago defunct battle royale, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But there's a bunch of key things here that I think that Apex can learn, and maybe not even into the real game, but maybe into just an LTM just to try and practice with. Just here's some core ideas. So one of the major things that Hyperscape does well is that it has a significantly simplified looting system. You have 4 inventory slots. There's 2 weapons and 2 abilities. That's it. That's all you get. You loot all that stuff on the map, and that's as far as you go with it. There's no other inventory stuff, unless you want to get really technical with how ammo works, but it's practically like not an issue at all. You just literally just click on the ammo boxes as you run over them, or literally just run over them and auto pick them up. And then you just have ammo. You have a preset amount of ammo added for every possible gun in the game to your inventory, which you can't even access or drop because you have no need to. It's just there. And that's really it. That's as far as any of this stuff goes. It is very, very simple. And the whole idea here is that they don't want you in that game to spend a whole lot of time looting and managing your inventory. When you pull up your inventory screen, all you can do is flip-flop whether your gun is on your 1 or your 2 on your keyboard, or whether your abilities are bound to ability number 1 or ability number 2 and your keybinds wherever you like to bind those. And that's all you can do, is just flip them around or drop them for a teammate, and that's it. So it's really quite simple. And there's no attachments, so you don't have to go looking for a barrel or a stock or a scope or a magazine or a hop-up or a this or a that. You just pick up the gun, you pick up a Ripper, you pick up a Riot, you pick up a Skybreaker, whatever gun you want from that game, and it is going to be the same every single time. It's just, you pick up a Ripper, which is basically their R301, you pick that up, and at level 0, it has X stats. You pick up a second one, and you upgrade it to level 1, then you upgrade it to level 2, 3, and ultimately up to level 4. And your recoil doesn't change, Your rate of fire doesn't change. All you're getting is magazine size differences, and at the max end, you might get some damage. And like, that's pretty much it for the majority of guns in that game, is that's all that really changes. Whereas in Apex, your gun feel changes so much based on whether or not you have a barrel, what rarity of barrel it is, what zoom optic you have, and it's just, the list goes on and on and on. I don't even want to go down the rabbit hole. It's just, an R99 can feel 5 different ways depending on which combination of attachments you have on it, which are just so strange. And then if you go into the pistol category, your RE45 zooms in to a very slightly different degree than a P2020 or a Mozambique, and the amount that it zooms in is unique just to the RE45, and it's not shared by any other weapon, which means that your sensitivity while aiming down sights is slightly different on that gun, and then your iron sights zoom level is very slightly different than a 1x scope zoom level, and then that changes your sensitivity, and things are just absolutely wackadoo with sensitivity in Apex based on attachments, and things are just, it's bananas, right? And you have so much to think about. It's to the point now where I just don't put optics on my wingman or my R99, and I just use the skin that I think has the best optics with the iron sights, and that's it. Because at least I have some level of consistency with my guns, and I'm not fighting for loot, fighting for attachments, all throughout the game, fighting against the game just to be able to play the game. Hyperscape gets out of its own way, and Apex in this way does not. It gets in its way very hard. So to bring this all back to actionable change, what I would really love to see brought to the real game, but of course that's not going to happen, so maybe for an LTM, is to do something where you remove all the attachments from the map and you present weapons on the map with all their attachments predefined. So an R301 will always have a 2x bruiser, or a Havoc will always have a 2x4 along with the select fire pre-installed, or this, or whatever attachments they may be. I'm not here to make the rules. I'm just here to say that, okay, why don't we try removing the attachments and making the loot pool far less diluted, make it more concentrated with stuff we actually want and less filled with stuff that we don't. So you're going to find a fully kitted Prowler on the ground at level 1, level 2, level 3, or perhaps even gold level 4. Maybe the different rarities might add or subtract hop-ups or something, but maybe your barrel is always the same and your optic's always the same. That way your gun always has the same feel, and as you level it up, all you're changing is magazine size and maybe, I don't know, like whether or not it has a hop-up, like I said, or something else. I don't know, just something that will not change the feel of the gun, but will just give you more better without changing feel and sensitivity response and things like that. Just make it so it's just 1-to-1, where if you have a base, white rarity R301 versus a gold R301, it feels the same. It feels like the same gun throughout. You just get more bullets or something, like something just truly that simple, I think would not be a bad thing at all. Hyperscape also has this thing where you have a universal ammo type. So you pick up one ammo box, and it will give you ammo for every possible gun in the game. Again, I would love to see that for Apex as well. So just remove all that, make it so guns can only have a certain amount of ammo. You pick up the one universal ammo box, okay, well you get 12 rounds if you have a DMR, the longbow rather, or you get 2 rounds if you have a Kraber, or you get 60 rounds if you have an R99, or whatever the numbers may be, you just get a predetermined number of bullets or pellets or whatever, shells, I guess I should say, whatever ammunition it is for each individual gun, and it's just like, that's it, done, easy. There's no reason to have to drop stuff. You just stack up, and then that's all you have to do. Now, the thing that I don't really know how to answer for this question would be healing items then, because Hyperscape has no armor system. It's just you have 120 HP, whether you're at second 0 or minute 15 of the game, it's always 120 HP. So, and you have passive healing over time, as well as one ability you can use, which you can pick up from the world, that will be an AoE heal over time that your entire team can utilize. So I don't know what Apex could do to copy this, basically, or to make it work in Apex. Maybe everyone just always has gold armor for double heals, and you remove the big heals, so that way it's only syringes and cells that are on the map, and then it's just fewer items to have to juggle, so you just have 2 binds, and it's just heal your health or heal your shields, and that's it. Everyone otherwise is the same. They're always at 200 HP or 150 or whatever. Or maybe you make it so everyone's always on Evo armor for this mode. That could be really interesting too. I think everyone seems to generally like the Evo armor modes. So, you know, your mileage may vary with you know, what you might want to see here. But I really think that Apex could be onto something if they just take some of these ideas of just making the looting experience and the battle royale experience smoother and simpler and faster, so people can spend less time inventory managing and more time doing the things that Apex does well, which is movement and shooting and gun feel. Let us do those things more and loot less. Now, I did also mention another battle royale that I wanted to steal an idea from, and that would be Radical Heights. So in Radical Heights, what they would do is once you got to 5 teams left, or if you're in solos, I think it was 5 players left, it would go to what's called a showcase shootout. So as soon as you reach that magic number, the game immediately says, okay, there's not many people left in the server. We're going to instantly force everyone to have to move to a centralized point where the final circle will occur. So now people are not stuck wandering around a large map at the end of Ring 1 or Ring 2 and not having anyone to shoot at and nothing to loot, and then they're just waiting and waiting and waiting to maybe come across someone to fight. So that game did a perfect job of saying, okay, we have to keep the flow and pace of the game quick because that's what's going to be fun for people. So you get to a certain number of teams left or players left, and you're forced to a final circle right away. So it just says, hey, you know, time for showcase shootout. You have 60 seconds or 90 seconds, get to the final circle. And then once you get there, it's like a big event. The time of day on the map changes. It goes from daytime to nighttime. And the entire spectacle immediately just changes, right? And it's exciting. It's interesting. It's just a complete shift of game state. And that is really cool to me, and I really enjoyed that. The only time I had a feeling like this in Apex Legends was when we had, before Ranked was a thing, and we had what was called Elite Queue, or something like that. It was like Elite Mode or Elite Queue, I don't know. The idea was, it's basically their pre-ranked ranked mode. So you would go in, and as long as you would get to 5th place, then you would be given basically a win. And the idea was you want to streak as many wins together as possible because there is an evolving badge you can put on your player card that will count up with how many wins in a row you have, or rather top 5s in a row. Mine is at, I think, 15 or 16, and I've only a couple times ever seen someone who wears that badge who has a higher number than me. I'm sure there's many of elite gamers out there who have 1 billion more than me. I'm not trying to say that my number is super impressive, but I mean, it's something that I always have that a lot of players never will, right? And it was really exciting because it's like, once you get to like 8 teams left, 7 teams left, 6 teams left, all of a sudden you have a complete shift in game state where people were going really hard, going really fast. All of a sudden things are kind of grinding down all of a sudden. And now it gets really sweaty with like 6 or 7 teams, and you have a lot of people fighting. And then once that counter reaches 5 teams again, then the tension breaks. And all of a sudden it's like, okay, we got top 5, we're good for our next game. Now we can once again start going wild, going crazy, having fun, doing ridiculous stuff. We can go full send on this random team. If we win, cool. If we don't, doesn't matter. Got top 5, we're good. You know? And I'm not saying that like that is what Apex should do, but it was just that, it was that feeling, right? Of like, okay, there has been a shift in the game state, and everything has been just kind of moved on its head. We're forced into action, and then it relaxes and releases, and then you can play again. And like that whole thing is just, it was cool. It was a feeling that Apex accidentally captured that I really, really miss. So I would love to see Apex doing something like that as well, where once you have, say, 5 teams or 10 players, maybe 10 players would be a good thing. You immediately are going to be forced into a final circle just so the game can end, a winner can be found, and you can just get into the next match more quickly. I think that would be a great place for Respawn to start. Before I ramble on for too much longer, again, just wanted to reiterate, still love Apex, fantastic game, still feels great, but I'm kind of in a holding period, just waiting for Season 6 at this point. I will play a little bit here and there, and continue to make some videos here and there if I have thoughts and opinions on things that I want to talk about, but in terms of guides or tier lists or whatever, I think I'm just kind of holding off and chilling until Season 6 and some more major meta shakeups before we get back into more guide-style stuff or tier list ranking kind of stuff. But that stuff likely will return in the future. Just waiting for some more meat, some more crunch to come in before we really dive into it, because I don't feel like I have a whole lot to talk about for right now. But anyways, everyone, thank you for being here. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you again very soon. Take care.